If you wanna stay with me.
You know it, oh Lord, you know it, for someday. You know it, oh Lord, you know it, for someday. You know it, oh Lord, you know it, for someday. You know it, oh Lord, you know it.
Comes off of turn number 4. The only thing left for me to say is it's time to wipe the visor and adjust the 5-point harness. Grandma, grab some more barbecue. It's time to get it on in Darlington. Race fans, it's showtime. Watch this. We're on board with Rhea Ferris. She gets slapped around like a ping pong ball.
Yeah, unfortunately, Rhea gets rearranged here on this deal. Oh, that's the second
Hold
game.
the brake, you asshole. I guarantee.
Oh, just a little too aggressive on the loud pedal coming off of 4, and oh, baby. Yeah, that's what you call ugly with a capital UG. You know, they have an incident limit here for this race tonight. We're not even to the halfway mark, and I dare say there's probably a good handful of people that are more than halfway to the Dairy Queen Award.
Yeah, unfortunately.
He's the 38, slugging it out right there.
7 has no help, solo car basically. Then he tries to dump down the racetrack. That hole was filled and, oh, my goodness.
If I didn't know Casey as well as I do, I would swear he was drunk right now.
It was 200 miles an hour. Sometimes you don't.
Sometimes you just gotta dig your head out of your own butt.
I wasn't gonna put it that way.
When have you ever known me to sugarcoat things?
You don't. You're more of a sea salt kind of guy.
Jonas Gunderson in tow, and the 24 is solo behind him, so it's an all-international affair on that outside lane. Stars and bars loaded up on the bottom side, with the exception of a Rilson who's leading this piece. But right behind a Rilson, it's all USA.
Tony, that was brilliant. That's crazy that Foreign's
Oh!
second.
McCorkle just got yeeted.
Caution out.
My goodness, I just, wow.
Dave Corshane just caught more airtime than a skateboard at the X Games.
All right, let's try to get this from, let's see which view we're going to go here. Contact for the 7, the 19, the 51, quite a few drivers right there.
Yeah, the 4 just raced her to the face. Oh, man.
All right, so we are 85 laps into the 200 lap.
And their next round of competition in the Gen 4 cars here at 8 p.m. Eastern. He's Matt Metler. I'm Tony Trepasso. Remind you, ladies and gentlemen, until we get a chance to meet again, and as you walk down the road of life this week, do us all a huge favor. Don't play in traffic, folks. Good night.
Broadcast. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Watkins Glen International for round number 5 of the iRacing Sim NASCAR Fever Cup Series. I am Mike Taylor with the iCast Racing Network right here on iRacing. Today we are once again privileged and honored to have the one, the only, Rhea Ferris in the broadcast booth with us to call the action for the Trepasso Memorial at the Glen. Rhea, what are your thoughts coming into today's event?
Well, it's certainly going to be a hot race. It is super hot right now out there. And therefore it'll be slick in certain spots, in my opinion. But it's a fast road course. A lot of people like it. It's a fan favorite. So the ones who like road courses, they're just going to, I think, simply have fun out there. There are a couple of really fast road course ringers that we have in the race too, as subs. So look for them to light things up out there and do some damage on the field. You know, play spoiler on the whole win and you're in process, because they're going to be obviously part-time and not trying to earn their way into a playoffs. They're just trophy hunting out there. But this race, you know, is dedicated to our fallen friend and hero of ISNF and other leagues that he broadcast as well, Tony Trepasso, originally from here, upstate New York. And we certainly miss him and his definitely some of his one-liners and reactions to you know, some of the things that would happen on the track. He would get to know the drivers, the way that they would drive, and their quirkiness and their flaws and everything else, and he would call it out as he saw it. And I really like that about Tony, and I miss it, and a lot of us do. And so it's a great way to honor him and keep his spirit alive and well here in the sport of iRacing. But Yeah, it's going to be a hot one though. A lot of lefts and rights. I know a lot of people that are not road course ringers or not a fan of road course racing are going to be looking forward to going next week to an oval. I forget where we're going though, but we are going somewhere next week, and taking a look too at our points. I know we have, I think, a new points leader for this week. I believe Justin Barkley is your points leader for this week. So he is your season number 8 champion, I believe. Yeah, season 8. So look for him to continue to battle for that P1 position in the points, and try to defend, what he did 2 years ago. And I think he's definitely one to keep an eye out for, maybe having a good finish out here tonight.
Absolutely. As we switch over to our qualifying session, let's go ahead and take a look at our race info today. We are at the one and only Watkins Glen International. This 2.42 mile track is in Watkins Glen, New York. Today's track temperature is 115, so just as Rhea said, it is going to be slick out there today. Our weather is 88 degrees Fahrenheit with the 30% humidity out there. It is a clear, beautiful day here in Watkins Glen with a 4 mile per hour wind speed. Today's race, again, is the Trepasso Memorial at the Glen. We are going 55 laps for 134.75 miles. And our stage breaks will take place at laps 15 and 30. And we will have 3 extra sets of tires today. So make sure you guys, if you find this...
Yep, and something important to mention. I'm sorry to cut you off, but it's something important to mention with those stage breaks. They will not be breaks. They'll just be scoring laps. We're not going to throw cautions for those stage breaks tonight.
So
and it's going to be clean and green all the way. Unless there's a log jam somewhere in, lap 1 or something like that, where it messes the whole field up, like an F1 race tends to do at the street races. We're not going to throw a caution. Generally speaking, we have 0 cautions on average at this track, so shouldn't be a problem tonight. And it's just wherever you're at on the track for those laps. It has nothing to do with, hitting the caution button or any of that stuff tonight. We are simply, if you are in the pits, if you are upside down on a wall in turn 1, or if you're jutting across the start-finish line, you will be scored on laps 15 and 30 tonight for that. So I just wanted to make that clear, so we're not looking for stage yellows tonight.
I gotcha. So looks like we are doing an open qualifying session here today. We have just about 7 minutes and 30 seconds remaining in that session. Who are your top dogs to possibly come home with the win today?
Well, I believe Eric Blix, if he's made it out on track, he's covering the 16 car. Yep, there he is in the Grizzly Chevrolet for Colleague Racing, subbing for Mike Halfleedison tonight. I look for him to get out there and do some damage on the field, maybe even AJ Allmendinger style in that car. He is a former winner at this track a couple of seasons ago, and I believe that he has the ability to get out here and do it again. I also believe that drivers like the number 10 of Danny Solo, he's really good at road courses. Josh Grasso in the 23 car. Angel Hernandez in the 45. And also Alyssa Sharp in the 17. Look for them to all do something tonight. And then Dylan Bazin, I have marked down as a dark horse just only because we don't know if he's a good road course racer or not. I just know that he has a high I rating, and he's just probably good everywhere. And he's still obviously looking for his first one here in the league. So I think, you know, he could probably do something tonight. We do have a list of subs. I want.
All right, it looks like we may have
Philip
some.
Manzo. You got me?
Now I've got you.
Okay. All right. Did you hear my top 5 picks today?
Yes, we got your top 5 picks of the day.
Okay. Yeah. So just going over the subs really quick, Mike. So we have Matty Maniacs. He's sitting in for Philip Manzo in the 3 car today. Ronnie Osmer is subbing in for Steven Sear in the 5 car. Philip Brown is in for Tony Fry in the 41. Jacob Treat is in for Emily Urias in the 47 machine. And Chris Walker is in for Miguel Rangel in the 8. We were unable to find subs for the charters 35 and 71 tonight. But for the most part, all the charters are out there. Should be a good race. You know, realistic settings again. You know, we normally don't broadcast road courses, but I think it's going to be kind of fun to change it up here tonight and have it be broadcast and kind of showcase, you know, the talent and skill that some of these drivers have going left and right.
Oh, absolutely. It's always a good time on a road course. Definitely here at Watkins Glen, this is one of my most look forward to races when it comes to the Cup cars at all. Actually, any car pretty much. I absolutely love this race course, and we are only using the Cup circuit. We're not using the full course, which includes the boot, as they call it. So it's a little bit shorter of a distance, but I just absolutely love this track all the way around.
Yes, it is a fun track. I'm not a road racer, we all know that, but it is still fun nonetheless to be a part of it and, you know, watch how others handle a race like this. So I'm having some technical difficulties on my end with the session, but yeah, we have 10 minutes of open qualifying, no certain amount of laps and stuff like that, just straight up 10 minutes, and you guys should be able to, you know, get out there and do something at least somewhat similar to what NASCAR did today earlier in the qualifying, and, you know, maybe come in, make some adjustments, get back out there, try it again, things like that. But yep.
Oh, absolutely.
Trying to get my way back into the session. Hopefully I can, and I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to or not. The bandwidth is pretty bad here, so.
Yeah, that's all right. We definitely fully understand. You know, we all have technical difficulties every now and then. But we definitely want to thank you so much for, you know, taking your time and coming up and joining us for as long as you can today.
Yeah.
We have just about 2 minutes, 24 seconds remaining here in qualifying.
Yeah, and just that, you know, the best thing I can do, because I don't think I'm going to be able to get back in to get your starting grid for you tonight like I was hoping. Just going over some other settings we have here in the notes. Talon Smith is not in the race today, but that was our last winner, was Talon Smith at this track. We have had 7 different events here at the Glen, 7 different winners. And again, we averaged 0 cautions and 4 lead changes in the Watkins Glen Cup race. There are no track lights here. And we have auto cautions are off, only admin. And yeah, so that's really about it, guys. Appreciate you being in here for us. as well, and I may have to sign off due to some technical issues here, though. So, Side, my friend, I hope you have a good night broadcasting, and I look forward to watching it on the TV. If you are watching or listening, don't forget to smash that like and subscribe button here. It does help support his small channel, help it grow, and we always appreciate you as the viewer doing the right thing and supporting the small channels that we have here for ISNF covering our events. So on that note, Mike, I'm going to go ahead and let you go. Again, I don't want to bring down the broadcast by having all these technical issues. So
No.
I'll talk to you again soon.
Alrighty, Rhea. Thank you guys so much, ladies and gentlemen. That was Rhea Ferris, the owner of ISNF, an amazing person. She puts so much effort into this amazing league. And thanks to her, you get to see all these beautiful liveries on these race cars that you will see here today, along with our overlays for the drivers. She worked very hard on those, and we want to thank her so much for everything she does for ISNF, and we look forward to catching up with her again next week. So we are ending out our qualifying session here today. Dylan Basin in that number 42 Toyota for Legacy Motorsport or Motor Club. He will sit on the pole with a 110 flat for the Trepasso Memorial at the Glen. And as we get ready to transfer over to that race session, we are very excited for today's event. As we still have just about another minute remaining here on our countdown. And as we brought that overlay back, it looks like Grosso in that number 23 was able to jump into the top 10. And so far, no other changes have been made, as we have just about 25 seconds left here in qualifying. As we go high above the racetrack here in Watkins Glen, ladies and gentlemen, this is such a very beautiful, fantastic race course. Definitely one of my absolute favorites here. And let's take a look here at the weather one last time as we get ready to line them up for 55 laps around this racetrack. And this track is still hot. 103 degrees. As we get our drivers lined up down on the racetrack. This is going to be a very short grid here, so let's go ahead and bring up our starting lineup for today's event. It's going to be very, very quick. Dylan Basin in that number 42 will start on the pole with Nick Miller in that number 99 machine to join him on row 1. Row number 2, you have Mark Gonzalez and Ronnie Osmer in that number 5 machine. Alyssa Sharp and Cody Meadows will round out row number 3. Philip Brown in the number 41 and Angel Hernandez in that number 45 machine will round out row number 4. And row number 5, you see Eric Belix and Joshua Grosso in that number 23, rounding out your top 10. Craig Lautenslager in the number 77 and Christian Delgado in that number 12 machine will start P12. Scott Weimer and Justin Barkley will round out row number 7. Danny Salo and Fabrico Lamana in that number 44 machine will round out row number 8. Row number 9, you see John Hopley and Joey Maines in the number 4 and 48 respectively. Eugene Thorne in the number 66 and James Bowles in the number 24 machine will round out row number 10. Row number 11, you see Andrew Miller in that number 54 machine and Matty Manik in the number 3 machine will round out row number 11. Row 12, you have Chris Otto and Christopher Walker. And that looks like that will round out your field for today as we are getting ready to go green. Ladies and gentlemen, let's get this thing underway for the iRacing Sim NASCAR Fever Series as they come to get the green flag. And we are underway here at Watkins Glen for the Trepasso Memorial. As you see all these drivers dive down into turn number 1, some even going 3-4 wide, and we have contact all over this place, but everybody keeps it straight coming out of turn number 1 as they climb up through the S's for the very first time today. Side-by-side action all over this speedway, but let's come back up here and take a look up here at the front with the number 42 machine of Dylan Basson out of Lakeland, Florida. He's gotten himself out front to an early lead as these drivers are now starting to go single file coming out of the carousel down to turn number 6. And look at those cars in the back go completely way off track as you see them do the same heading down into turn 6 and out of 7 down the front straightaway. It's complete lap number 1. That's going to be Dylan Basin out front today, leading that first lap as we see a pass happening up front. The number 41 of Philip Brown got a little bit sideways in the number 2. Mark Gonzalez was able to get back around, and we have one car go way off track, and that would be the number 21 of Cody Meadows out of Martinsville, Virginia. He totally missed his break-in marker heading down into turn number 1 and went way off track. And it looks like we have Eric Borgensen. He went off track. Let's go ahead and go back and take a look and see what happened with him as they dive down into turn number 1. Again, he just overshot his braking marker a little bit and spun it and missed his pit wall, but got the retaining wall. That's very unfortunate for the number 7 of Eric Gorgensen for Spear Motorsports. As we have a battle brewing here for the race lead. You have Nick Miller trying to overtake Dylan Basin in that number 42 machine as they run side by side heading down the front straightaway down into turn number 1. Miller has the spot, but Bassin is not giving up much room as they go side by side up through the S's here for the race lead. And Nick Miller almost overtook completely, but they're still side by side as they come down this long back straightaway heading down to the bus stop. Miller has the point, and that is where you want to be heading down, but they continue to run side by side, and Bassin gets way wide, and he will fall back to third as he now runs side by side with the 2 of Gonzalez as he regains that third spot, and he will only lose 2 spots on that exchange heading down into the bus stop. That could have been a lot worse for Dylan Bassin and that number 42 Toyota Mobile 1 machine for Legacy Motor Club as they run side by side behind them. I apologize about that. And it looks like Ronnie Osmer in that number 5 machine for Hendrick Motorsports will fall in line behind Philip Brown in that number 41 Haas machine. A lot of racing going on here as we have Jeff Wimmer. He's gone off track. We're going to go back, take a look at him, see what happened with him in that number 60 machine. As they once again dive down into turn number 1, totally missed his braking point and got into the back of the 12. That is very unfortunate there for the number 60 and 12 cars respectively. And the 12 being driven by Christian Delgado. He was just a very innocent bystander in that incident there. As things settle down here up front, and Dylan Basin has made his way back up to that second spot, getting around Philip Brown, and then Mark Gonzalez also got around Philip Brown while we're taking back a look at that replay. Things have once again settled down around this racetrack. Let's come back through the field. Let's take a look and see where some of these drivers are. We have Angel Hernandez here in that number 45 Beast machine for 2311 Racing. As you see them come flying down into the bus stop once again. These race cars are not easy to drive on road courses, because you have to manage the throttle just right, as we have action happening behind him here with his teammate Joshua Grosso in that number 23 McDonald's machine, as he runs side by side with Craig Lautenslager as he passes him for the 9th spot. Let's move back a little bit. Oh, here he comes, the number 77. We'll stay right here for just a moment as they get ready to dive down into turn number 1. As they continue to stay side by side. Joshua Grosso and Craig Lautenslager out of Nielsen, New Zealand. He is doing really great today. He's moved up a couple spots since we took the green. I want to jump back here to the number 20 machine of Charles Robertson in that DeWalt Toyota Camry for Joe Gibbs Racing. He has moved up 11 spots since the start of this race, and so far he is our the driver that's moved up the most positions here, as we have an issue here with Matty Monak. And we're going to jump back to take a look and see what happened with Matty here as he dives down into turn 1, misses his braking points, locks it up, and he loops it in turn number 1. That is very unfortunate there for Matty. As we catch up with Cody Meadows in the number 21 Freightliner Ford Mustang for the Wood Brothers. Cody Meadows was one of the drivers that we were watching last week, as he was very strong. And let's jump back up here with Alyssa Sharp. She's one of the drivers that Rhea is keeping her eyes on for a potential win here today at Watkins Glen. Alyssa Sharp in that number 17 Submarines Ford Mustang is currently holding off Eric Billixt, another driver that Rhea has said that has potential to win here today as well, as they fight it out here for the 7th spot. As Chris Van Maastricht, he has gone for a ride. Let's see if we can take a look, see what happened to him coming into turn 6, and it looks like he will loop it around, and then he will get it facing straight once again. No harm, no foul done to Chris in that number 38 Long John Silver's Ford F-150 or Ford Mustang. I got trucks on my mind, apparently. As you see, he's going to go ahead and just cut it to let these faster drivers get around him. And we're going to come back out front here to the number 99 of Nick Miller, as this battle for first is starting to brew up again between Nick Miller, Dylan Bassin, and Mark Gonzalez in that number 22 machine. He's making himself known as they get ready to go around the lap car of Eric Gorgensen, as the 42 looks like he has some radio issues there, and a little love tap coming out of the final corner, and that will drop him all the way back to third, and that will allow Mark Gonzalez in that number 2 snap-on Ford Mustang for Team Penske to get around him as well. And now Mark Gonzalez puts his eyes out on Miller in that number 99 machine as they come up here through the S's. Down this back straightaway, you can get a lot of momentum coming up through those S's if you do it right, as we have a pass back here for that number 4 spot. Ronnie Osmer currently has it, but Philip Brown in that number 41, he wants that 4th spot, and he was looking as they dive down into that bus stop that last time. And we're going to come back right back up here with Mark Gonzalez and company for this first spot. It's been absolutely crazy for these drivers out front, as these 3 drivers are staying nose to tail. That is something you don't see very often in many races, but these 3 drivers here are keeping it nose to tail, and they are not allowing each other to pull away no matter what. Give me just one moment here, friends, as I misjudged one of my logos, and that looks perfect right there on screen for Watkins Glen. That is a fabulous view, as we still see Gonzalez putting a lot of pressure on the 99. Here comes Bassin onto the inside of turn number 7, looking to take over that 2nd spot. That was a big move there by the number 42 coming out of or into turn number 7, as we have Craig Lautenslager. Looks like he has gone around out of the final corner. Let's go back, take a look and see what happened with him. It looks like he just got up on those rumble strips, backs it down, and barely taps the wall there. Eric Gorgensen once again had an issue here into turn 1. Looks like he overshot there, and he is pulling away from the tire barriers in turn number 1. Let's get back up here to your race lead, as they go extremely wide out of the carousel, trying to hold as much momentum as they possibly can. These drivers are doing their best, as we see here that Jacob Treat has also just gone off here in turn number 1. Let's take a look, see what happened. It fires it up, gets onto the rumbles, and that will send him just a wee bit sideways and holds it down. As we come back up here with our race leaders, now they are fighting this lap traffic of Shane Griffin in that number 43 machine, and now they are approaching the number, looks like the number 9 machine of Bob Wyckoff, as we have a pass for the lead trying to happen. Miller holds it in place and holds off Bassin, as Bassin gets around Gonzalez for that second spot. What incredible racing we have here, ladies and gentlemen, for that number 1 spot. I do not want to leave this battle up here for the front, as these drivers are taking every opportunity to make passes where they can, especially when it comes to the lap traffic. So Dylan Basson currently in that number 2 spot out of Lakeland, Florida. He looks to the inside of Miller, but he cannot make it happen as they come out of turn number 1. He will just settle down right back behind him. Hope he got a better run out of turn number 1, and that will make it so that he has more momentum up through the S's and down that back straightaway, heading towards the bus stop. As they come to the straightaway, he will not be able to have enough speed up through the S's to make any sort of move. As you see these cars just absolutely bouncing around through the bus stop and through the carousel, as they go way wide. And here comes Basson for the lead. He's on the inside of this corner, almost tap, and that will knock Miller back to that second spot. But here comes Miller back into the right side of Basson in that number 42 machine, side by side on that straightaway. And Gonzalez is, I thought he was thinking possibly going 3 wide for a second for the race lead, as they dive down into turn number 1 once again. 42 of Basson holding that inside line as he is able to make the pass. And here comes Gonzalez onto Miller, coming up through the S's, but he will slide right behind Miller, and that will allow Basson in that 42 machine to pull away here. Nick Miller making his 5th start here with the ISNF Cup Series out of Lehigh Valley, Pennsylvania. As they come out of the carousel. And Gonzalez in that number 2 machine does get a little bit sideways here. Oh, we have Cody Miller gone around. Let's go back and take a look and see what happened with Cody Meadows as he comes into the bus stop. He just climbed up those curbs a little too much and lost it heading into the carousel, and he will go away unscathed, luckily. Let's come back here and take a catch up with Alyssa Sharp and Hernandez in the number 17s and 45 machines respectively. They are slowly making their way up through the field, finally getting around the number 5 machine of Ani Osmer as they dive down into the bus stop here once again. Let's take a look here as we complete lap 15 or work lap 15. Remember, this is the first stage, quote unquote, break, and Basson, he will come out on top and he will win this stage, but you will not see a caution as we're going to go green to green for these 55 laps. So Basson, Miller, Gonzalez, Brown, Billix, Sharp, Hernandez, Osmer, Salo, and Lautenslager will be your top 10 for this stage. As you see Dylan Basson head down into the bus stop once again. We are gonna go back and see what kind of madness we can find as it looks like for the most part everybody is starting to spread out just a little bit here. There is now a 1 second gap between Dylan Basin and Nick Miller. Yeah, so let's see. Take a look here at Jeff Weimer in that number 60 machine for Roush Fenway Kozlowski Racing. As we have some movement happening up here in the front. For a brief moment, it looked like the number 12 of... Oh, the number 12 is a lap down. That is my bad, you guys. On my screen, it was showing that they were fighting for position. But it's still just here between Alyssa Sharp and Angel Hernandez. Right now, I believe this is our closest battle, so we're going to just watch these two drivers for the moment. As you see Hernandez trying to make a move on Sharp coming down into turn number 6, but he's unable to make anything happen there. Chris Van Mastrit, he had issues once again. So let's go back and take a look and see what happened to him in that number 38 Long John Silver's machine, as he just looped it a little bit sideways into turn 6. And he will stop and allow the faster cars to go by before he merged back on track. That was very smart there. And it looks like, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to start having our pit stops here on lap 18. And the first one in is going to be Ronnie Osmer in that number 5 machine for Rick Hendrick. Ronnie Osmer out of Pearl River, Louisiana. As he gets service on his machine and he pulls out. And let's come back, take a look at this battle here, and we see Angel Hernandez coming down pit road in his number 45 machine. So things are going to start getting busy as we see multiple cars now down on pit road. And let's take a look here at Christopher Walker. He's out of District Heights, Maryland. Only a whopping 17 years old. He's doing pretty decent back there in that 12th spot. Gained just about 12 positions since the start of this event. Make that 13 as he passes Angel Hernandez, who's down on pit road. Let's come back up here and catch up with Philip Brown in that Haas machine, number 41. He is battling it out with that number 16 of Eric Billixt, who is one of Ria's picks for today's win. As you see Philip Brown now heading down pit road. Now, the real question here is going to be, when will our race leaders come down to pit? And currently, we have a pass here for the second spot, as they just decide to just bring it back single file through the bus stop. Neither one of these drivers giving it much thought between Miller and Gonzalez. As they come out of the carousel. Gonzalez going wide, and here comes Hernandez, or I'm sorry, Gonzalez on the inside but he will pull it back behind Miller as they come through turn 6. And Gonzalez gets a little bit loose there, so he'll lose just a little bit of ground there, as it looks like Miller's coming down pit road and giving up that 3rd spot right now. Bassin in that number 42 Mobile 1 Toyota has just about a 5-second lead on Gonzalez. So that heavy battling happening between Gonzalez and Miller, that really cost those two drivers a lot of time on track, as we see more drivers coming down pit road. Alyssa Sharp is down on pit road. Joshua Grasso's making his way down on pit road now as well in that number 23 McDonald's machine out of Red Wing, Minnesota. He is our season 6 champ, so he knows how to get it done here in the ISNF. Jeff Weimer is in. John Hopley in the number 4 machine. He's making his way down onto pit road here. And here comes Dylan Basin, your race leader. He will give up the race lead, and he will come down to get 4 fresh Goodyear tires on that Mobile 1 Toyota Camry. Eric Ballast in that number 16 machine. He's coming down pit road as well. And last second decision for Danny Salo in that number 10 machine. Blocking it up, getting sideways, coming down onto the pits. Hopefully that did not just cost him a possible speeding penalty. And let's come back here and catch up with Mark Gonzalez in that number 2 machine out of Fort Worth, Texas, driving for Team Penske. It's a different looking paint scheme than what we normally see on that number 2 machine, as he has snap-on tools on his hood and side. Snap-on tools and make really strong tools. Definitely one of those companies that you can trust when it comes to all of your mechanic needs, as Gonzalez will now make his way down to pit road. Christopher Walker in that number 8 machine. He's leaving pit road now. And that will turn the race back over to Dylan Basin in that number 42 machine for Legacy Motor Club, as he comes out of turn number 7. Gets close to that outside wall. And there's the overtake for that race lead, as you see the number 19 machine pulling out onto the racetrack of Justin Barkley. Angel Hernandez here in the number 45 Beast machine for 2311. He did get around Alyssa Sharp on that pit cycle. Alyssa falls back quite a bit away. It looks like just about 7 seconds back to Hernandez. So she had a very unfortunate lengthy pit stop there, as she jumps the curbs in the bus stop. And hopefully she can get things turned back around and catch back up to Phillip Brown and Angel Hernandez. As you see here, the number 41 Phillip Brown out of Jalisco. I will have to that is a very interesting hometown. Guadalajara, Jalisco. Hopefully I pronounced that one right. as they are trying to track down Eric Billist in that number 16 machine, who's currently holding it off in that number 4 spot. There is a 2-second gap now between Miller and Gonzalez for that second spot, as we are keeping an eye right here on Philip Brown and Angel Hernandez, as this is currently the closest battle we have on track. As we take a look here, see what we can find. Yep, that looks like that's the closest current battle on track. Danny Salo's losing time to Alyssa Sharp. Yeah, so currently this here is our closest battle between these two drivers. As Christian Delgado, he went off track. Let's go back, take a look here and see. Oh, he hit the wall hard coming out of turn number 1. Let's go back and take a look. As he comes out of turn number 1, he got up on the as he hit that outside wall, then came back and hit the left side guardrail. That is very unfortunate there for Christian Delgado in that number 12 Menards Ford Mustang for Penske. As we catch back up here with Alyssa Sharp, as she continues to track down Philip Brown and Angel Hernandez. And things have got a little bit spread out here between these two drivers currently. And it looks like the closest battle right now is going to be here on Alyssa Sharp and Danny Salo for... Here we go. For that number 7 spot. Apologize about that. I just got a quick email, so I had to take a look at that real quick as we see the battle here for 7th really starting to spice up here as they dive down into turn number 1 between Alyssa Sharp and Danny Salo in the number 10 Seabest machine. And here comes Danny now, as he will just fall back behind Alyssa coming up here through the S's. Alyssa gets just a tad loose through the transition, and that makes Danny take a look possibly to the inside, but he will fall back behind once again and climb up the curb, and he will lose a little bit of time there as they now once again come through the carousel to come to this short shoot down towards turn number 6 and down into the heavy braking zone. Danny Salo making that move on the inside of Alyssa, and they make contact, and she turns him into turn 7, and that puts Danny Salo around into the guardrail out of the corner, and Danny Salo will have to come down to pit road to get repairs on his number 10 Seabest machine. That is very unfortunately for Danny Salo, as he had a very strong run going here today at Watkins Glen. Let's come back up here and catch up with Philip Brown in that number 41 Haas machine, trying to get around that lap car of the number 4 of Hopely, that A and W All-American food machine. Things definitely starting to spread out here amongst everybody. Let's take a look once again here up with your race leader, Dalen Bassin out of Lakeland, Florida, making his way, trying to make his way around the lap car of the number 60 machine, as the 60 goes way wide of Jeff Weimer, and that will only leave 12 cars now on the lead lap. Bassin has a 9-second lead over Nick Miller in that number 99 machine. And then just 2 seconds back from him, you have Mark Gonzalez. We are going to jump back here and catch up with the number 5 of Ronnie Osmer out of Pearl River, Louisiana in that number 5 machine. He's trying to track down that number 17 of Alyssa Sharp, and Craig Lautenslager. He is trying to catch Ronnie Osmer for that 8th spot. Currently, this here is our closest battle on track, ladies and gentlemen. As we see here, Jorgensen once again have issues. Let's come back, take a look, see what happened to Eric in that number 7 Gainbridge machine, as he just locked it up and spun it around in turn 1 once again. But he will get it fired back up and moving. Turn 1 has not been Jorgensen's friend so far, as it looks like he may be trying to make his way down the pit road, but he will overshoot. Nope, he will stay out and pull down to the side to get out of everybody's way. As you see Mark Gonzalez here in that number 2 machine. "25 laps to go in this event, and there is a 10-second gap between Bassin and Nick Miller." So we take a look here at Nick Miller in that number 99 machine with Freeway Insurance. This battle here for second is starting to get a little bit closer and closer, as you see the deficit that Gonzalez has been able to make on Miller the last couple of laps. So it looks like Gonzalez is possibly going to try to make a move on Miller here very soon. So we are just going to stay and keep an eye on this here for a while. It looks like I want to go ahead and touch up on a couple cars here that seem to have retired from this event. It looks like we have Christian Delgado. He's currently not on track after that massive hit. Jacob Treat, he's currently off track. Chris Van Maastricht, Matty Manek, Shane Griffin, Charles Robertson, and Eugene Thorne are currently out of this race for the moment, as Andrew Miller, he has issues. Oh, and the number 99 of Nick Miller loses it out of turn number 7, and he will fall back to that 4th spot. Let's go back, take a look, see what happened to Nick as he was coming out of turn number 4. Or I'm sorry, turn 7. It looks like he just got onto the throttle a little too much, and he whipped it the other way to keep it off of that wall, which was the right move. And I mentioned Andrew Miller. Let's go back, take a look and see what happened to this Miller in that number 54 Monster Energy machine. Turn 1, and those rumble strips once again claimed another victim out of turn number 1 as Andrew Miller gets his machine turned back around. With Nick Miller spinning out on the front straightaway this last time by, that dropped him from 2nd all the way to 21 seconds back from your race leader, and that will put him in the 4th spot, and that moves Eric Billix in that number 16 Grizzly nicotine pouch Chevrolet to that 3rd spot. Eric Billix has kept his nose clean this entire race, just running his own race, and he is not letting anybody affect him in any way, shape, or form. So it looks like Eric will get a very strong finish here today at Watkins Glen, as long as he can keep it straight for the next 21 and a half laps as they now come through the bus stop. Eric Jorgensen has once again had issues. Let's go back, take a look into turn number 1 once again, it looks, and he will loop it and hit the inside wall once again, and he will bring it here into the garage as you see Mark Gonzalez getting around that lap car of the number 54 of Andrew Miller, as he sets his eyes onto the next car in his way, which is the 6 of Chris Otto. Chris Otto in his sophomore season here with ISNF. As we dive down into the bus stop, Chris Otto out of Green Bay, Wisconsin. He's one, I believe he's one of our right-hand man to Rhea. He is having an okay day back here in the top 20 for the time being. Ronnie Osmer, he went off. Let's take a look and see here what happened to that number 50. He lost it in the transition going from the left to the right. Hard impact to that guardrail and then gets slammed hard by Craig Lautenslager in that number 77 machine. That broke his left front and he just cannot hold on to it, so he locks it down and into the tires. He goes in the carousel, and that will most likely put an end to his night as Alyssa Sharp makes her way down pit road for the final time with 20 laps to go here. And this will begin our second round of pit stops for these drivers. As you see the number 44 machine of Fabrico Lamanna make his way down, as Alyssa Sharp now pulls away right behind that number 19 machine of Justin Barkley out of Tampa, Florida. He is your season 8 champion, so he's familiar with, you know, what it takes to win here in the ISNF, as Alyssa makes her way around him as well. Bullock's in that number 16 machine. He's down on pit road now as we catch back up with Dylan Basson, who still needs to make his second pit stop here. And as just with this now currently going, Dylan Basson has only 4 cars remaining on the lead lap. He will get that 18 laps to go this time by. Gabriel Lamana, he just had issues in that number 44 machine. Cold tires, I'm sure he gets up on those curbs in the bus stop hard into the tire barrier. That lifts his car up, and that possibly will put an end to his day. So we are watching Dylan Basson work his way around this beautiful circuit, and he is going to stay out here once again. Dylan Basson, he has currently led from flag to flag, minus the couple people that were able to lead on the last pit cycle, as it looks like he is going to possibly bring it home all the way, but 17 laps still remaining, so time. Oh, we have a big issue with Justin Barkley in that number 19 machine as he goes down into turn number 1, as he lost it in turn number 1. Christopher Walker, he gets involved in that number 20, the number 21 machine of Cody Meadows gets involved. And we are unsure of what happened with Christopher Walker. At the same time, here in the bus stop, it looks he overshot the bus stop a little bit, got up on the curbs, and spun it out here as well. A lot of incidents happening all at once here at Watkins Glen International as we continue to see our pit cycles come through. Alyssa Sharp made her way down pit road, as we saw. Angel Hernandez made his way down. Let's see. John Hopley, he's come down pit road. Angel Hernandez left pit road as well. As you see the race leader, Dylan Basson, in that number 42 Mobile One Toyota Camry, trying to pass a lap down car. He thought he was going to make contact with that lap down car, so he spun it out heading into the bus stop, and that will bring Gonzalez right back to his back bumper in that number 2 machine. Gonzalez has been very, very smooth and consistent all race long. As we now have 15 laps remaining, these two drivers still need to make their final pit stop. So it's going to come down to who can stay, or I'm sorry, who will not get a big penalty on the pit stop if there is any penalties. So both of these drivers have to be very, very smooth coming down to make their final pit stop as they come through the carousel once again. The big spin by Bassin has brought Gonzalez right back to his rear bumper as they come through turn number 7 here once again. And both drivers will stay out. 7 cars remain here on the lead lap in the Trepasso Memorial at the Glen. Again, we are racing in memory of Tony Trepasso, who has ultimately done a lot for this racing league and became a really good friend of Rhea Ferris, the owner of ISNF. This is put out a big memorial for him in his honor, and I am very happy that I am able to bring this race to you guys here live on the iCast Racing Network. And we are powered by... Whoa, and we had big contact for the 2, and that was the trouble I was talking about. As both of these drivers come down to pit road. Big, huge contact here for Mark Gonzalez on the front end of that snap-on Ford Mustang. He just lost all that time that he gained. And is it possible that he's going to have a longer pit stop for speeding in pits? We are about to find out here as Mark Gonzalez, he will pull ahead. He will only take 2 tires and he will jump in front of Bassin in that number 42 machine. This is a very interesting call for Gonzalez as he comes down this back straightaway with 12.5 laps remaining. Let's go ahead and take a look at your top 3 here on the race map here. That 22 car, technically the 2, is your race leader, and Billixton, that number 16 machine, only 2, almost 3 seconds back to Gonzalez. This is going to be a very interesting, if that was the right call on Billix, and it looks like Bassin in that number 42, he ended up having, I believe he ended up getting a penalty there thanks to that contact by Mark Gonzalez entering the pits. And that will drop him all the way back to that 7th spot, 37 seconds back behind. And this right here is for your race lead here, ladies and gentlemen. Just about 2.5 back to the number 16 of Billix from Mark Gonzalez. There's that machine, that black and green machine, coming out of the carousel. Gonzalez is just a little bit better through the beginning portions of this racetrack. And then Billix, he's better going through the S's and the bus stop. So these two drivers are pretty much evenly matched as you watch that interval jump between 2.5 down to 3 seconds between the two drivers. And just to show how fast that number 42 machine is, let's bring him up on our track map as well. He's now in that 7th spot. He's going through the bus stop as we speak. 10 laps to go for race leader Mark Gonzalez in that snap-on number 2 Ford Mustang for Team Penske. But Eric Billist in that number 16 Grizzly nicotine pouch machine for Colleague Racing out of Sweden. He's putting on a good, easy, steady race here today. He is one of the top 5 picks for Rhea Ferris at the start of this event. So it is holding very strong for him here in that 2nd spot. And he has made up 7 spots since the green flag dropped today. Eric Billix was able to bring even more feet in between Gonzalez and himself, as it was hovering between 2.5 to 3 seconds. Now it's down just to about 2.25. So he is making really big progress here. Two seconds now just separates your race leader of Mark Gonzalez in that number 2 machine and Eric Billix in that number 16. Billix had issues getting through turn number 6, and that will drop him about another half second off. And so that little bit of time that he did gain there, he just lost in one corner. And now he is back to just about 3 seconds back from your race leader, as we have just about 7.5 laps remaining. Seven laps to go for your race leader, Mark Gonzalez. Can Billix cut that 2.5 second deficit in to a race win in just 7 laps? It is still remains to be seen, as we see tire smoke there in turn number 1. Basson back in that number 6 spot now has gained just about 5 seconds in just about 3 or 4 laps. So that just shows the speed that the 42 has. But that unfortunate incident heading down into the pit is what's really going to cost him here today. As we see Gonzalez come out of the carousel, go way wide. And into turn number 6, ladies and gentlemen. Mark Gonzalez out of Fort Worth, Texas, looking to claim his first win here with the ISNF series. As he dives down into turn 1, and Billix has been able to drop that decimate down back to just under 2 seconds. Eric Billix working his butt off to try and to catch your race leader. And won't it be something if he can catch him? 1.8 seconds now separates the two drivers. Goes back to just about 2 seconds. This last lap, Billix was able to gain a lot. And it seems like every lap he is just getting that much closer to your race leader of Mark Gonzalez. Billix is going to have to bring out that grizzly bear in him if he is going to want to get onto the back bumper of Gonzalez for that race win with just 5 laps to go, as that decimate has now gone above 2 seconds. Now it's back down under 2 seconds. This is going to be a good race to the finish, as Gonzalez is coming on the lap car of Barkley in that number 19 machine as he dives down into the bus stop. How much trouble will that 19 cause your race leader as he stays wide through the carousel? And he will allow your race leader to get around him just fine and dandy, as Gonzalez gets a little bit loose out of the carousel, but he is able to hold it straight and keep pushing, as he is now coming up on another lap car. Four laps remaining here in the Trepasso Memorial at the Glen race for round number 5 of the iRacing Sim NASCAR Fever Series, as your race leader Mark Gonzalez is getting ready to pass the number 4 of Hopely once again as they come up through the S's. And now there's 2 lap cars separating your race leaders. How quick can Billix get around these 2 lap leaders, and will they cause any issues for him, as they both will stay wide for him? So that's going to help him big time as he comes out of the carousel, and the 19 goes around coming out, and he will stay off the wall. That was really close for the number 19. Dylan Basson has entered the pits. And the number 42 machine, he's down on pit road, and he will go 1 lap down now. Let's take a look here, as it looked like he had to do a drive-through. We're unsure of what exactly happened. As we keep our eyes on Mark Gonzalez as he's coming up on that number 42 machine of Dylan Basson. A good day gone bad for him, as these 2 competitors made contact on coming down the pit road for that second pit stop. So my question is, how much will he block? And there he goes. He is blocking the lap car of the number 42, Dylan Basson, blocking big time of Gonzalez here for your race lead. Gonzalez has just 2 laps to go this time by, and he should just ride right behind Billix, as we know that Billix is faster. So you might as well just stay behind him, as you still got a 2-second lead on the 16. But could something possibly be brewing between these 2 drivers? The 42 of Dylan Basson needs to keep his head cool and calm and not let his frustrations get the best of him, as both of these drivers slow down big time out of the carousel. And big block once again by the 42 machine, not letting that race leader get by him. And that is allowing Billix to come up behind, just to a 1-second gap between the 2. White flag in the air this time for Mark Gonzalez out of Fort Worth, Texas. The difference between your race leaders is just now down to a 1 second decimal, as they come out of turn number 1 to come up through the S's for the final time. Nice and easy it is going to have to be for Mark Gonzalez to keep Billix behind him. And that's allowed Miller to get under 6 seconds behind them as well in that number 3 spot. Coming through the bus stop for your final time, Mark Gonzalez in that snap-on Ford Mustang, as they come through the carousel and down the short chute one last final time. Turn 6, 1 more corner remaining for Mark Gonzalez. And ladies and gentlemen, out of the turn number 7, Mark Gonzalez in the number 2 Snap-on Ford Mustang is your Trepasso Memorial Race winner here at Watkins Glen International, as there might be possible, as you do see some post-race activities between the 42 of Dylan Basson and your race leader Mark Gonzalez. Remember, that was a big, huge contact between the 2 drivers coming down for that final pit stall. This was a race between Mark Gonzalez and Billix. Wow, 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 what a race that was. What a race that was. Your race winner, Mark Gonzalez, in that number 2 Snap-on Ford Mustang. Let's go ahead and slow things down here just a little bit so we can get our heads cleared, and let's start talking to some drivers. Alrighty, as we have one driver here, waiting to find out if anybody else is going to join before we talk to our race leader of Mark Gonzalez. I'll give them here just a couple more moments to join. And this is going to be a very interesting conversation to figure out what happened on that final pit stop to make that contact between himself and Dylan Bass in that number 42 machine? And let's go ahead and grab our race winner, Mark Gonzalez, the number 2 Ford Mustang driver for Team Penske. Mark Gonzalez, congratulations on your win here at Watkins Glen International. First off, how are you feeling about getting that win here today?
I'm not too happy about it. I'm not happy about the way I got it, but I am happy that I got a win and that I'm entered in the playoffs now, and that I was able to get my first victory for ISNF. So it's all around not a good situation, but it's not a bad situation.
Oh, absolutely. Definitely a lot of mixed emotions there. As we saw that final pit stall, it looked like you came in a little too hot and then got into the back of the number 42 machine. Is that what happened? You just came in too hot, or what happened there? And did you and Dylan have any words post-race?
Yes, sir. I just came in. I missed my braking point, and I knew I was coming in too hard, and I just tried to get on my brakes too much, and I hit the back of him, and I was already speeding at that point on the entrance, but I spun out, so I didn't get a penalty for it, but he got a penalty, and I just said, I'm sorry, man. I really did not mean to do that, and it was unintentional.
Well, so you also had a very interesting strategy. You were pretty consistent all day long, falling back to third or fourth a couple times, and made your way back up to second. Before Dylan got loose in the bus stop, when there was just about a 10-second gap between the two, did you think you would be able to catch him at all, or were you praying for a mistake like that?
I thought I had the better tires because I was also saving fuel, so I at this point, when I caught up to him and saw that he made a mistake or whatever, I guess, mixed up with traffic. But as soon as I saw him, I was like, hey, I mean, I'm staying with this guy. I think I can actually, have a battle with him. And he came into the pits, and I was like, this is when I got to go because I've been saving fuel. So hopefully I can take these 2 tires and get the fuel in it faster than he can, and I would have been in the lead. And that's how I would have liked it to play out. And if I was still behind him, I think I still had enough tire to at least stay with him, make a pass. I don't know. We'll never know now.
Oh, absolutely. Early on in this race, again, between yourself, Dylan, and I believe it was Nick Miller, for like the first, 5 laps, 6 laps, you guys were really going at it. Were you surprised that you 3 were able to stay together that long?
I knew I didn't have the pace in qualifying to keep up with Dylan, but Nick Miller, me and him were around the same qualifying time, so I was like, maybe I could just stay with Nick Miller. I was even happy with just a second place today, because after I passed him, I was like, all right, now it's just about survival. So I was happy with second place, but once that mistake happened with Dylan, I was like, all right, I got to take on my opportunity.
Absolutely.
But I think my strategy was I was able to lift early before the corner, and I was trying to save fuel that way I could stay out longer and have those better tires at the end of the race.
Oh, absolutely. Alrighty. Do you have anybody that you would like to thank before we release you to go do your celebration activities?
Yes, sir. I want to thank Team Penske Racing. I also want to thank Snap-on for being a sponsor out here today, and I also want to thank Ford for providing the engine. And I know there's a lot of gear banging on this thing, so they're going to have to do a lot of maintenance on it.
Oh, absolutely. Alrighty, Mark, thank you so much for joining us today. Congratulations on your win here in the Trepasso Memorial at the Glen. I will go ahead and move you out of here. Congratulations, and we'll see you next week.
All right, thank you, sir.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mark Gonzalez, your race winner here at Watkins Glen in that number 2 Snap-on Ford Mustang for Team Penske. What a race it was, flag to flag, a lot of surprises, and oohs and ahs near the end of this race that allowed Mark Gonzalez to come home with that race win. And with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, let's go ahead and take a look at your race results for the Trepasso Memorial right here at Watkins Glen. And your race results, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go ahead and take that and hide it. So your race winner for today, ladies and gentlemen, there we go. Mark Gonzalez in that number 2 machine. Eric Balix. Now, give me one moment here. This is... It's not looking the way it should. Alrighty, let's go ahead and get this reset up here for one moment, ladies and gentlemen. Not sure why it's showing up that way, but Mark Gonzalez, ladies and gentlemen, your race winner here at Trepasso Memorial at the Glen. Second place goes to Eric Bellist in the number 16 machine. Nick Miller in that number 99 machine came out third. Philip Brown sneaking by with a fourth place finish in that number 41 machine. Angel Hernandez once again sweeps out a top 5. A strong finish for Alyssa Sharp in that number 17 machine. Dylan Basson, your pole sitter, and unfortunately did get that speeding penalty on the final pit stop. And he will finish in that 7th spot. Jeff Weimer in that number 60 machine will finish 8th. Christopher Walker in the number 8 machine will finish 9th. James Bowles in the number 24 machine will finish 10th. John Hopley in the number 4 will come in 11th. Justin Barkley in the number 19 will finish 12th. Andrew Miller in the number 54 machine will finish 13th. Fabrico Lamana in the number 44 machine will finish 14th. Joey Maines in the number 48 machine will finish 15th. Larry Fairman in the number 34 machine will bring that machine home in the 16th spot. Cody Meadows saw situations late on in this race, and that will drop him all the way back to 17th. And Chris Otto in the number 6 machine, he will fall back to the 18th today. There we go. Ronnie Osmer will bring it home in 19th in that number 5 machine. Craig Lautenslager will bring it home in the number 77. Joshua Grasso in the number 23 machine will bring it home 21st. Danny Salo in the number 10 will bring home 22nd. Eric Jorgensen will bring it home 23rd in that number 7 machine. Bob Wyckoff in the number 9 finished 24th. Christian Delgado in the number 12 will round out your top 25. Jacob Treat will finish in the number 47 will finish 26. Chris Van Maastricht he will finish in the number 27 spot in the number 38 machine. Matty Monick had an early exit in the number 3 machine. Shane Griffin in the number 43. He will finish 29th. Charles Robertson and the number 20 machine will finish in 30th. And rounding out your field will be the number 66 of Eugene Thorne in the 31st spot, ladies and gentlemen. That is your finishing order for today's event for the Trepasso Memorial here at the Glen. We want to thank everybody so much for joining us right here on the iCast Racing Network. And special thanks to the iRacing Sim NASCAR Fever Series for allowing us to put on this presentation for you. And special thanks to iRacing.com for having a place for us to call home. And of course, SDK Gaming for their amazing overlays. That will do it for today, ladies and gentlemen. We'll see you next week, same time, same place, right here on the iCast Racing Network. And until then, happy time zones.
This has been a production of the iCast Racing Network powered by iRacing. Thank you for your continued support. Don't forget to like and subscribe for notifications for all of our live events right here on YouTube and Twitch. We would like to thank SDK Gaming for their production overlays that makes this event enjoyable. Until next time, happy time zones.